Alright guys, so I'm going to be doing my spoilery review for The Last Jedi, so I'm giving you plenty of warning right now. You do not want to continue with this video if you haven't seen the movie yet, or if you don't want spoilers, because I'm going to talk about a lot of stuff. I'm going to be talking about, I made a list before I saw the movie of questions that I wanted to have answered, or things I was anticipating in this movie. So I'm going to kind of go over my internal checklist, and then but before I do that, we're going to talk about just overall impressions. So let's go ahead and give you just a moment to either pause or exit out of this if you don't want spoilers. But that being said, holy crap, this movie was it was I cried too much, and I think my biggest problem with this movie right now is the way it ended. One of the biggest problems I have is Leia, because they said she's alive at the end, so apparently she was supposed to get some amazing send-off and become, honored and become part of the universe. Like, I was expecting some kind of force rapture, like she was going to become one with the force and all of this stuff, and it didn't happen. It didn't happen. It didn't happen at all. She's just like, all right, cool, we're going to start a new rebellion. What? I mean, and again, that's not a problem right now, but I anticipate that being a huge problem for Episode 9, because they've already said outright they're not using Leia in Episode 9. And it sets it up when you need Leia in Episode 9. So unless they're going to go back and reverse that position, I really have some issues with that. And what makes it worse is that you won't have anybody in Episode 9, unless maybe they bring out Lando, because we lose Luke. Granted, Luke can come back as a Force ghost or something like that, I suppose. But we lose Luke. And that's one of the hardest parts to get over, is that I was still trying, I had such a hard time trying to process what was happening, because he was looking at a sun, and then I was like, what is this? Is this like a ship coming? What is going on? And then all of a sudden he just disappears. And I just, what he was doing is he was making contact with Rey and Leia, but it just seemed unnecessary. He wasn't that old. He wasn't, he wasn't wounded. There was no reason for him to die. That's the biggest thing. It's like, it feels to me like his death was meaningless. But I also have to think that maybe it's not. That maybe he is going to still be in Episode 9 as a Force ghost and contribute to the story. I feel like he's going to contribute again. But I don't know. If he doesn't, that's an awful shame, because unless, of course, Mark Hamill just simply didn't want to come back for the next movie. But that was a big blow. We lost Phasma. I'm okay with losing Phasma, although she's survived what seemed like a death before. But this one, I'd be upset if they brought her back after this, because it seemed like a good ending for her. And if you've read the Phasma book, her ultimate humiliation would have been for somebody to see her face. She doesn't want anybody to see her face, and it's they make it a point to point that out. And so since Finn saw part of her face before she died, it was just like, aha, I beat you, not just physically but also emotionally. And then she falls down right into an explosion. There's no coming back from that, really. But if they bring her back, that'd be a shame, because you don't need to. That's concluded. But yeah, there's that. The biggest surprise, because I think a lot of us kind of, at least in the back of our minds, expected Luke was going to die. But I think the biggest surprise is having Snoke die, or is he really dead? I mean, I think he is, but with no explanation for Snoke's background yet. Nothing. And that's another thing, is there's no explanation for payoffs or anything. No explanation for Rey, no explanation for Snoke. They're just nobodies. What? It almost makes me think that they have just decided, you know what, the internet already guessed all of our theories. Screw it, we're going to say no backstory for anybody. Like, what is going on? You know, yeah, I understand they want to save a few things for like books to explain or comic books to explain and backstories to explain, but these are major characters. Snoke and Rey are major characters. They fueled all of the speculation for the past 2 years. And to say that, oh, Snoke is dead now, and we're just going to move on, with zero explanation for Snoke. That's a big deal. And this little portal that was behind him that everybody was like, oh, he drains the life essence of all the Jedi he finds. And that's how he's coming back to life. Like, all of this baloney. No, it was a window. That's all it was. It was a window so you could look outside. He was doing exactly what Palpatine does. Snoke's a tremendous disappointment. Like, and I'm glad I didn't buy the Snoke action figure. I'm keeping Palpatine up here because Palpatine at least has a story. Palpatine is at least interesting. Snoke was just like, oh, surprise, your bad guy doesn't, you know, he's dead now. He was. Wow, am I starting to now? As I talk about it more, I feel like my opinion on the movie is changing. I mean, it was. But at the same time, I guess it's. All right. I hope they explain Snoke at some point, but I'm not sad that he's dead. I think it's pretty cool that a character that I thought was unkillable, or at least unkillable in this movie, got killed. So that's cool. And it happened kind of early. It happened way sooner than we expected. I expected a Luke Skywalker versus Snoke breakdown. I expected a lot of different things. So that didn't happen. And I think that's it for like the major characters that we lost. Well, no, we did lose like pretty much all of the Resistance leadership very, very early. And that was one of the biggest shockers to me, which made me tear up very early in the movie, is when they hit the bridge. And Leia, Akbar, everybody gets pulled out. They're all gone, and then they come back to Leia later on as she's frozen in space, and she flies through space with the Force. I mean, that was the Force. So Leia's Force sensitive, which is really interesting because it seemed like they built up something that they could have maybe paid off, but there is no payoff for it other than she just flew and managed to stay alive, you know. So she was like slightly Force sensitive, which is cool, and that's about where we all kind of expect Leia to be. But it just seemed like, you know, maybe she could, you know, talk to Rey a little bit more in the future and like help her along some of her journey, and maybe she will in the books, but they can't do it in Episode 9. So it's like they kept her alive so they could write more books about her. And I bet you there's going to be like a, you know, a matronly Leia novel that comes out. Deals with Rey and Leia kind of talking about Luke and progressing Rey's training so this way she can show up in Episode 9 and be like a super ninja or something. Daisy Ridley was awesome in this movie, speaking of Rey. I really liked her performance. I really liked the character. I liked her training. I liked her confronting Luke Skywalker. I liked her confronting Snoke. I think she stood up. She was a strong character. She was a great role model. She was the White Knight. She was the, you know, the ultra good character in this movie, and it was awesome. I am surprised that the other half of that pie is that the Ben Solo character, while he almost came back to be redeemed, like I have been saying all along, he was going to be redeemed. He was going to be good. He was going to be good. And it seems like just when he was about to be good, he's just like, oh, and by the way, we just killed Snoke, and oh, now I can be super, and now I can be Snoke. And I'm like, oh, dude. So, and this is one of the things that's going to fuel questions is Kylo Ren redeemable anymore? Because now, I have always said he was redeemable. I made a Kylo Ren is the real hero. I thought he was a hero in disguise. He was already starting his redemption arc. Because he at least had light in him. But now it seems like the light's totally gone. Totally gone. That's frustrating. So, yeah. Let's talk about all of the new amazing things, right? Things that we didn't even know were possible. One of those is Yoda, right? Yoda's in this movie. How awesome is that? Yoda shows up. By the way, Yoda looked awesome. That was one of those big, like, oh, wow, awesome moments. Yoda's very awesome in this movie. He can actually use the Force while as a Force ghost. That's cool. That's new. And that's one of the things that makes me think there's a hope for Luke to come back as well. But, you know, so Yoda can use the Force. Yoda's a Force ghost, super strong Force ghost, summons lightning, blows up the tree. By the way, did you catch that all the books that were in there, Rey had them on board the Falcon? Towards the end, when they're putting a blanket on Rose and stuff, Rey pulls it out and the books are in there. So all those Jedi books, she got them out before they got blown up. So that's a little Easter egg there. That's you know, towards the future. Well, I don't know if it's an Easter egg, but it was, you know, it's not crucial to the plot, but it's important for the future that she saved all of those books. And I think that was really easy to miss in the moment because a lot of stuff was going on right there. Boy, and Luke's ability. I thought all along that Luke was going to have some new abilities, but it turns out like his biggest new ability is like teleporting himself somewhere else where he's not really there, so becoming like a living hologram, which is cool. I thought he was going to do some kind of time stop thing, like Professor X from the first X-Men movie. In a moment where everything's going crazy, he was going to go like bing, and then like freeze everyone while he walks around like Quicksilver style and, you know, fixes stuff. But I guess that's been done too much in recent movies with all these super speed characters like Flash and 2 different versions of Quicksilver. So I don't think they're going to, you know, I think that maybe if they were ever planning to do that, that's probably one thing I said, that's been done. It's not gonna, nobody's gonna appreciate that. But it's kind of cool that, you know, what Luke did right at the end there, and I thought something was up. Watching it for the first time, I thought, like, wait a second, he cut his hair, and his hair isn't as gray anymore. So what did Luke stop to dye his beard on the way to, you know, on the way back to help them? I'm like, what? How is that gonna happen? How did that happen? So that's another thing that was like, I'm like, something I didn't put 2 and 2 together yet because, you know, that ability had never been used before. But I thought something was up. And then the second time I thought something was up was when he pulled out a lightsaber, and it looked like the Anakin Skywalker lightsaber, like the Luke's first lightsaber. It wasn't his green blade, it was the blue blade. And then I looked at the hilt, and it looked just like this one right here. And I'm like, how does Luke have this lightsaber? How does he have it? Because we just saw it get destroyed. So he's either got another one, and I was like, oh, maybe he built another one that was just like the old one, which is weird, but okay, maybe he did. And then of course, then it all made sense when you realized, oh, he is a floating Buddha, and they're back on Ahch-To. And so, but that was a great end scene with Luke. So let's talk about my questions. Let's talk about my questions, because there was a lot of stuff. So my first question was, do we find out Rey's parents? And the answer to that one is maybe. Kylo Ren says they were nobodies, definitively, and she seems like she believes him, like, oh, that is the truth. I didn't want to believe it, but it's true. It's like they want you to be settled on that. And I think that's one of the things we're going to argue about for a long time. And it works, but it feels to me like that wasn't always the goal. It seems like she was intended to be like a Jaina Solo or something like that, but apparently she's nobody. Okay, and the lesson there is that anybody can be a hero, right? You don't have to be royalty to be a hero. Okay, I get that. But I think we're meant to argue whether or not that's true. I'm accepting that it's true. That's fine. Whatever. I'm not super satisfied with that answer, but it's okay. I really thought she was going to be a Kenobi. I really wanted Obi-Wan to kind of show up as a Force Ghost too. I was expecting the whole time. To get an Obi-Wan Force Ghost. Do we learn of Luke's Jedi Academy in any detail? Who were the other Jedi? Were there any other instructors? That was my question, because I was hoping that maybe they'd be like, oh, it was just me and this other Master Tano, right? Like you were gonna like some flashback of Ahsoka or something like that. So we do have a little bit of flashback to the Jedi Academy, but it was like Luke and like 12, or he said a dozen other. So Luke and like 13 trainees, one of which is Ben Solo. And all we know is that Ben Solo took a couple of them with him when he left, and killed all the rest. It's presumably that they went on to become the Knights of Ren, but they do leave the door open for others. Maybe they deserted. Maybe there's some rogue dark Jedi in the galaxy right now. So that door is definitely left open. And that's kind of interesting. Let's see, what do I have next? Do we learn more of the First Order's backstory? No. That's the easy one. Other than we learned some more about, they have a lot of ships. You know, that's about it. Will we see or hear Thrawn, Sloane, or any other book characters involved in the First Order? You know, we know from some of the books that Thrawn and, well, Sloane specifically was a First Order founder, and she's mentioned even in other books too. Like she wasn't killed off immediately, and she was at least around during the early days of Snoke. But we didn't get to see her unless she's hiding in the background somewhere. But it seems like from some of the books, it seems like Sloane, at least at one point, outranked, was in charge of either Hux. She was a pretty big deal. So I think I definitely want to know more about Sloane, and it's a shame that she wasn't here. Maybe they're saving her for Episode 9. Is this going to be a downgrade for Finn? Going from somebody... yes. So, Finn was my favorite character from Episode 7. He seemed, if you remember back when we first saw Episode 7, we were like, oh, well, Finn's going to be the new Jedi. We got that picture of him with the lightsaber, and we're like, oh, yeah, Finn's going to be the new Jedi. He's the hero, blah, blah, blah. And then it turned out Rey was that, oh, okay, so Finn's not going to be a Jedi? You're kind of hoping Finn could potentially be a Jedi. And if he goes from, like, Jedi candidate to just dude who picks up a riot control baton, then to me... Whoa, dropping stuff. To me, that feels almost like a downgrade as far as how cool Finn was. And I think Finn got a downgrade because there's no... Where the movie leaves off, there's no Jedi potential for Finn. They didn't even hint that he was like lucky or force sensitive at all. If anything, Rose might be. And the reason I say that is because Rose's sister at the very, very beginning... when she was clutching on that amulet, trying to get that control, like it almost hinted that she had just a touch of the Force. Same thing is possibly true for Poe. From some of the comic books, that Poe had this special tree that was like a Jedi tree in his backyard when he grew up. So there's always that, and that's kind of like a thing, like, oh, that's why he's such a great pilot, because he's got just a hint of the Force. But if they're trying to go with the whole theme that anybody can be a hero and anybody can be a Jedi, then we got to bring Finn back to the whole lightsaber thing. I want Finn to have a lightsaber again. I want him to have some cool gear, and it's just a shame. He's got the martial skills, right? And I was knocking stuff over. He bested Phasma, which he was a lucky shot. It's not like they made him out to be a better fighter than Phasma, but Phasma was fighting multiple people, and she turned around to shoot at Rose, and then Finn gets her from behind. Still a little bit of a, not super happy about the way Phasma went out, but it worked, though. He got to see her face, so there was some meaning there, so that works. So yeah, I think Finn has a little bit of a downgrade in this movie, but he had an adventure. It's not like a bad thing for Finn. It's just a downgrade as far as what I wanted Finn to be, not necessarily what you wanted Finn to be. So maybe we all have our different opinions on Finn. I still want Finn to become a Jedi. I want Finn to have some kind of lightsaber-based weapon. I want Finn to have lightsaber nunchucks. But I'm not going to always get those things that I want. So that's just this. And again, this is just me talking here. All right, let's talk about what was my next question. Do we get a Luke and R2-D2 moment? Yes, we do, and it's awesome. That's one of those great moments. Is when Luke is talking to R2, and it's everything I wanted it to be. That was amazing. Do we get a Luke and Leia moment? We do, and that's one of the most difficult scenes to watch. It was a great scene. Yeah, that way we definitely get a Luke and Leia moment. Does Leia die? Does she go out in a good way? No! Nope, already talked about that. Leia doesn't. Any hint or mention of Ahsoka or any of the Rebels crew? No. If there was, I missed it because I didn't see any of that. DJ, is he someone important? Were the rumors that he was there were rumors that DJ was a Fett? Like Vikram Fett or something like that? There's You know, some people reported like, oh, we've got all the insiders. His name is Vikram Fett. No, he's a nobody. You don't even know if he was the person. Apparently, he's not even the person they were there to go get. He's just a typical bounty. Honestly, he's like Hondo. He's just a typical scumbag. I mean, really, there was so much mystery put into DJ that you thought he was going to be this major character. He was virtually unimportant, almost completely unimportant, almost virtually garbage. So yeah, that's kind of a bummer. His character had a role to play in the story. He had a role to play in the narrative. He actually had 2 roles to play, but DJ was like, because he had to get them on board the ship, which like I think they could have just written a way for them to get on board the ship. Like if we sneak around to the engines, we can sneak in through the slipstream of the engine debris. We'll have to, you know, maximize our shields or something. Like they could have come up with some other way than we need to fly to a casino planet, go on an adventure. You know, that was, you know, it seemed like just an excuse to get him in, just so he could sell them out and say, oh, attack those rebel ships. I don't know. And that's another thing, is it seemed a little weird, like that the First Order is only looking at the Radis, and they paid no attention to all those escape pods. I'm like, really? You got a lot of ships there. Not one of them noticed all of these? Okay. I mean, they explained it that they were using cloaking stuff. I get it, but visually, you would see them visually. Is nobody looking at the battle that's going on for the past 2 days straight, or however long it was? I don't know. Okay, let's see. Or maybe that's the point. Maybe it was going on so long people stopped paying attention. Let's see. Snoke backstory. Is he the dark side presence that Palpatine was after? Well, they don't talk about Snoke's backstory at all. Nothing. No payoff for Snoke other than he dies. Surprising there. Does Kylo Ren become good? He becomes a little good for a minute, but only to suit his own needs. Then he gives in to like, oh, the vacuum. I just killed Snoke, and we survived. And I don't even really think he was being good. I think he just wanted Rey. Whether he wanted her sexually or spiritually, or maybe he felt the call to the light. You know, maybe it was a combination of all of those things. Because there was definitely and I don't want to get graphic or anything, but there was definitely something there that was I don't think romantic is the word, but he definitely has a desire for her, and that's my opinion. But based on them touching and based on that connection, it's more than just teamwork. I think he wants her. Does Rey become evil? Everybody thought Rey was going to become evil. Not even close. She's like not fazed by it whatsoever, which is interesting. And are there any villains hidden in plain sight, referencing the Darth Jar Jar theory? That one was interesting. If you're not familiar with the Darth Jar Jar theory, I'm not going to go into it, but basically, did they use the idea of just hiding something in plain sight, like Yoda was, if you ever saw Empire Strikes Back for the first time, and remember, like, Luke's looking for Yoda, and Yoda's not, you know, well, this little foolish guy will take you to Yoda, and come to find out he was Yoda all along. Did they try to mirror something like that for this being the second movie of the sequel trilogy? And I don't think there was really anything like that. You know, DJ was not what he seemed, but you knew that going in. You already expected that he wasn't, you know, that he wasn't all he was cracked up to be. He was somebody that you almost knew was going to betray them from the start, so I don't think that counts. Let's see, what was my next question here? And I've got a couple of these. Lando. There's no Lando. And that's a shame, too. Why don't we have Billy D. Williams yet? This is ridiculous. Starting to become ridiculous. Do we get any new ships that are not in the trailer? Well, we got DJ's ship, but we got a new shuttle, or at least a slightly different shuttle, but nothing, you know. I think all of the ships that when we get some different looks, you get some different views of the ships, but I don't think there was really anything massively new. I think everything we had already seen from the trailers and everything like that. Everything that really matters. Other than maybe DJ's ship, but it was a ship he stole, so it wasn't even his ship. Okay. So let's see, what is ship's not in the trailer. Okay. Any hints of Wedge? No. I really was holding out hope that we were going to see Wedge again. Maybe we will in Episode 9. Maybe a lot of the stuff we want to see, they're saving for Episode 9. Were there any tie-ins with Battlefront 2? Not really. No, I'm going to just say no. You can kind of make a leap for one, in that they knew about this dreadnought, and it's something that they talk about in the campaigns, like, oh, we're going to tell the Resistance the battle plans to this dreadnought. But it doesn't matter. It's not even. I don't even consider that a tie-in, because they were obvious. No connection whatsoever with Battlefront 2. The Eclipse, was there any mention of the Eclipse from the Aftermath that started? No, and there wasn't. So another big payoff I was hoping to get that there wasn't. Let's see, what else do we have that we want to talk about? Did this feel like an Empire Strikes Back clone? No, it did have some mirroring of Empire Strikes Back, but it did not feel like an Empire Strikes Back clone at all. Even like the symbolism, like when you see the walkers marching on the base, right? And like, oh, well, that's like Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, but it's not. It's not. It ends, you know, first off, like the pace of it is totally different. It takes place, you know, the battle is totally different. The feel of it is all totally different. And the timing, since it's all at the very, very end, it's, you know, almost everything about it, while there is some mirroring of Empire Strikes Back, I think by and large is vastly different and felt like its own movie that may have drawn on some imagery from Empire Strikes Back to help it along, but I don't think it felt like The Empire Strikes Back. Not in the way that Episode 7 felt like Episode 4. All right, so let's see. Based on this movie, is Rian Johnson a good choice for the next trilogy? I think so. I think he did a great job. Even though I have mixed emotions about a lot of the stuff, I think all of the things that hurt me about this movie are done for a good reason. So I think Rian Johnson will do well with another trilogy. Phasma, is her character redeemed after that blunder in Episode 7? Well, they wrote a book to explain her blunder in Episode 7, and I think it's a shame that they had to write a book to explain something I think was really just a mistake. But yeah, she got to do some good. I think she probably could have gotten more screen time, especially with the build-up that she's had. Felt like she was barely in this one, but she still had a good fight scene, and then she's gone forever. So she either should have lived or maybe been maimed and survived, like lost a limb, and she comes back as like cyborg Phasma or something like that. I would have liked to have seen more of Phasma, but yeah, it's a little better for Phasma. It's about what you kind of expected, and in a movie that had been giving you so many things that were unexpected, I kind of expected Phasma to beat Finn. I actually really thought she was going to just whoop him really good, and then he would like limp away, like missing an arm or something, to come back. I guess he's already kind of been wounded in a movie and come back for the next one, so who knows. All right, are Gray Jedi now a thing? Was Luke going to actually be the last Jedi and move on, and there's Gray Jedi? No, looks like we got Rey Jedi instead of Gray Jedi. No, that's a little corny. That's a little bit corny. Okay, let's go on. What's next? Luke better not die, OMG. Yeah, that's what makes this movie hard to walk away saying, that's the best movie ever! Because it ends on such a freaking sour note. Even though it's like a good death. Yeah, I guess. I guess it's a good death. But there was just no reason for that. I feel like there was no reason for it, but I'm guessing it's going to... Really, it hinges on 9. Like, does his death play a role? Because if he doesn't contribute to 9, then I will come back and say that this movie was freaking stupid for doing that. Okay. Does Leia use a lightsaber? Please. No, Leia does not use a lightsaber, but she did use the Force, so we got a little bit, right? So that was cool. Is there a funeral for Han Solo? No. But you do get a moment where Luke learns about Han, and he goes and gets his dice that are hanging in the Millennium Falcon. So you get some acknowledgement. You do get a little bit of a tribute to Han, and he's mentioned a couple of times too. It's he's not forgotten. He's not cast aside. But there's no funeral, because originally there were some rumors that they were going to do a funeral for Han Solo, and maybe they did film it and it had to get cut. I don't know. Are porgs dumb? No, porgs aren't dumb. In the movie, like, I was afraid, like, were they going to become like Jar Jar Binks level or Ewok level or something like that? They were small and just, you know, slight there. They had a little bit of screen time at the beginning of the movie, and then after that they were only in it a little bit. There was a really cute scene with the porgs and Chewbacca, and Chewbacca's eating porgs, and they're all staring. Like, honestly, that was really cute. I loved it. They've definitely come a long way since Jar Jar Binks, that's for sure. So no, the porgs were fine. I have no problem with porgs. Does Chewbacca have a meaningful role? This was something I was concerned about going in because I thought Chewbacca was going to be just there to be with the porgs. Chewbacca has a small role, but he has at least one good scene when he kicks down Luke Skywalker's door and forces Luke to talk to Rey. That was a really good scene. But yeah, Chewie is pretty much kind of just there in the background. He's not really like a starring role in this one. Not like he was in other movies. He's kind of just in the background. So a smaller role for Chewbacca than we've seen in any other movie so far. But it's okay. His scenes worked. So does Poe get a new ship? No. Black One gets blown up. Poe's character actually had a pretty cool arc, like where he's growing. Like, Poe is being groomed for leadership. And that's a really good thing about Poe. And I think that's probably one of the things that is going to help transition away from Leia, because I think Poe is going to become the new Leia. And that's cool. And they picked a good actor for it. Oscar Isaac did a great job too. All of the big three, you know, being Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, and Oscar Isaac, they all did a great job in this one. Or the big three of the Rebellion, at least. Honestly, all the actors, I think everybody's performance was magnificent. There wasn't a single actor that gave a bad performance here. They all were very good. Let's see. Does the Raddus survive? Because, dude, that is a cool ship. It survives longer than I thought. I thought in the trailer when they show Kylo Ren attacking it that he's going to blow up the Raddus. That doesn't blow. It just damages the Raddus. And it's a good thing that I was afraid there, because this is a big ship. This thing is like, what, half the size, or maybe a third to half the size of the Executor. So, you know, bigger than any ship we've ever seen a Rebellion have before. It's awesome. It's like a Viscount from the EU. But it doesn't just get blown up easily by the First Order. It doesn't get blown up at all by the First Order. Holdo turns it around. It goes to hyperspace right through that fleet. Cuts the Supremacy in half. The Raddus did awesome work. And Emmeline Holdo, by the way, awesome performance by Laura Dern. I loved it. And I was actually surprised, because I thought we were going to see her on Canto Bight, and she wasn't there. That was kind of another big shocker for me, that they went there without her. But that scene with the Raddus was like one of the best scenes in the whole movie. I freaking loved that. Yes. And also, I'm going to throw this out there. We don't see the Raddus actually explode, but we know you don't survive going through hyperspace through another ship. So it's pretty much blown into space dust. I would be really disappointed if they say, oh, it turns out that ship actually survived. No, it's gone. It's done. Does the First Order exist only on ships now, or do they have a home planet? We don't get anything about that at all, so we have no idea. And do we see an Anakin Force Ghost or an Obi-Wan Force Ghost? No, but we did get the next best thing, and that was a Yoda Force Ghost. Very cool scene. There were some early reports that Yoda was going to be in it, and just because one of the rocks looks like Yoda. So I think, like, while that was like a fake spoiler, it also turned out to be true. So I think it was just a, you know, they got lucky. You throw enough rocks, you're going to hit something. So that's all the questions that I had going into the movie, and hopefully we talked about like all the big stuff. I'm probably missing some stuff, so we're going to talk about this some more. I'm probably going to do a lot more videos, but I'm going to probably wait about a week or so before I start putting out videos that are asking questions that this movie made us ask, because I don't want any of my video titles or any of my video thumbnails to have spoilers in them. I don't want to give anything away, because the problem is you're going to already see, like, people are already going to see videos showing up on YouTube. You know, it's like, is Luke really dead? You know, things like that. And that's going to really piss people off. I already know, you know, people who've been posting spoilers before the movie even came out. And it's a real jerky thing to do, and I'm very upset. I'm very disappointed in some of these people too. But yes, that's about it. So we're gonna do more stuff. We're gonna do more stuff, absolutely. But you can head over to crabbok.com if you want to talk spoilers. We're gonna be talking spoilers over there. We're gonna be talking about theory. Great stuff. But if you make a new topic or a thread over there, just start it with spoilers, because we don't want somebody to accidentally stumble into it. That's all I got, guys. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Let's continue the discussion. Let me know in the comments what you think, your overall opinion on the movie, which was your favorite scene, what were you know, what made you laugh, what made you cry, what made you stand up and cheer, what made you kind of just, your jaw hit the floor, and do you believe that Rey's actually a nobody, or do you think Kylo Ren was lying to her? Let me know, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.